Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at SUMMERFEST, right by the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. And let me tell you something. $5,000 is still alive and well. Nobody has hit the hole-in-one still at the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. So first one to do it here at SUMMERFEST gets $5,000. It's $10 for 3 golf balls and take your crack at the hole-in-one challenge. Again, first one to get hole-in-one gets $5,000. Make sure to check out the hole-in-one golf challenge when you come out here. Coming up on today's show, guest-free baby out here at SUMMERFEST. Charlie Usen back in the studio. Lots to get to on today's show. We'll talk more about the Bucks, the draft picks, Giannis, all that fun stuff. A couple different Brewers topics in here. Green and gold update as well. That comes up at a little bit different time at 3:20 because we have a bigger Giannis topic at 4 o'clock. So it will be Bucks and Giannis and NBA free from 3 till 4. We'll have some other topics on Giannis and the Bucks in the 2 and the 4 o'clock hour. So plan your show listening accordingly, if you will. Let's get to what is going on with this Milwaukee Bucks team. Nate Ament, the first-round pick from the Bucks at pick 13, is a guy that has been chatted about quite a bit in the last 24 hours or so since the Bucks made that pick. I have seen numerous different publications praise the Bucks for their drafting. Love the Burries pick to be essentially that point guard / shooting guard, that combo guard out of Arizona that can shoot the rock. They loved the Nate Ament pick at 13. Now, leading up to the draft, so many of us were not high on Nate Ament, did not want the forward out of Tennessee, would have potentially avoided Nate Ament if at all possible. That's when the Bucks just had 10. Why? Because there is a lot of risk, I guess, going into this. If you only have one pick in the first round, you're in a situation where, you're potentially going to have to win with this new draft lottery system. You got to be somewhere between 4 and 10 as far as records go, worst to best in that area. You don't want to be one of the 3 worst records, so you still got to compete. But now when you have 2 first-round picks after the Giannis trade and you get 10 and 13, now that the pick at 13 can be a little bit more of a gamble. And we talked about the idea that, hey, you knew what Golden State was going to do. You knew what was going to happen with OKC, that neither one would take them. Then my warped brain last night, as I was sitting home thinking about everything, as I was doing some work on my laptop, I was like, wait a second. I mean, we gave them a lot of praise, and rightfully so, that they took Burries at 10 when they should have, and then you come back and you take Nate Ament at 13. But did the Bucks take Nate Ament at 13 because that was the Miami Heat pick at 13? Because between the two, between Ament and Burries, Ament by far has the greater ceiling. Burries has a higher floor. Ament, a potential, I'll say it, I don't care. Maybe I'll be wrong. I think Nate Ament could be a potential star in this league if you start watching a lot of his stuff. Now, the thing about it is this. Forever and ever, John Horst and the Bucks will be linked to Giannis and Miami in that trade. And every time Giannis does something as far as potentially winning a championship or something like that with Miami, what's going to happen? TNT, ESPN, NBC, whoever is going to throw up a graphic up on the TV screen while you're sitting there minding your own business, watching the finals because the Bucks either got in the playoffs and got beat or missed the playoffs. And they're going to throw up, hey, remember this trade here, Giannis from the Bucks to the Heat. Let's see how the Bucks did. And then they're going to go down how they did. The players that they had, did they re-sign any of the players? How did they do? What did they do with the picks? The Bucks, of all these picks, are going to need a star player to pan out to make this trade look as good as possible. Nate Ament may give you that pathway to get there. Nate Ament is 19. Nate Ament is thin. He needs to eat a lot of food and start lifting weights and get on the muscle program. I came across a couple of different pieces of audio concerning Nate Ament. One was a podcast with Kevin Garnett that
Kevin Durant.
Really, what did I say? Kevin Durant. Sorry. Kevin Durant in which AJ DeBonsta, who went number 1, who was the number 1 rated high school prospect at that time going into college at BYU, was sitting down with KD and, I don't know, a couple other guys. KD was the only one we care about. Sitting down doing this. And this was before, I believe, last season, before they played their first year in college, right? So this wasn't halfway through the season. This was before. And KD got to talking to him about, hey, man, besides you, who are a couple of these other hotshot high school kids that you think are going to be stars in the NBA, potentially kind of carry the torch, going forward in your class? Check this out.
I got a question for AJ. Who do you feel in this class of high school dudes is going to be rivaling you as you move forward in the league?
Darren Peterson, Nate Ament, those top 2.
You think in 10 years, 12 years from now, y'all going to be in the league?
I think all 3 of us will still be there.
Looked at as the best players in the league.
Yeah, they got the intangibles, got the family behind them.
Darren Peterson, Nate Ament. That's it.
Folks, that is big stuff. I didn't see that audio prior to the draft. We're being honest. I saw it yesterday. And I watched it. I was like, goodness gracious. Then there was a piece of video going around as well. And it was a mashup. And it was DeBonsta versus Nate Ament when they were in high school. DeBonsta was ranked number 1 in the country. Nate Ament, who the Bucks just drafted, was ranked number 4 in the country. And these two jokers were going score for score, back and forth down the floor. And you were seeing Nate Ament do stuff that I don't believe you really ever saw him do at Tennessee. And I'm watching this. I'm going, hey, now you see why he was number 4 in the country. And then you start questioning, okay, but what happened in college? Like, he got off to a horrible start. He was brutal. And then he caught fire for about 12 or 13 games, shot like 45% from 3 for a stretch, and then cooled back off again the last few games of the season from 3 as far as shooting the basketball. When the Bucks drafted Giannis, he was playing against a bunch of grown adult men with beards and everything else. Looked like a YMCA league that Giannis was playing in. And Giannis was long. He could run. He could jump, right? And you saw a highlight or two of maybe him shooting a 3. But you knew he had a lot of muscle, was going to have work ethic. And if he put it all together, he could be a beast. Now, I'm not going to say Nate Ament's going to be Giannis. I'm not going to say that. But what I will say about Nate Ament is if he adds on weight and if he busts his tail end, even close to what Giannis did, and that player development with Taylor Jenkins and that new coaching staff who had John Morant, had Jaren Jackson, had all those guys, Dylan Brooks, had all those guys in Memphis, he developed and grew them from draft prospects, draft guys, and into potential beasts out west. And then they got hurt, and obviously it didn't work out, right? Fine. If he develops Ament like that, you might have something here. You might have an all-star in Nate Ament. You might have that guy. If Nate Ament is the 4th best player in this class and you drafted him at 13, if he's the 3rd best player in this class, which is what DeBonsta thinks, you really got to steal Charlie. If you took him at 13 and the top 3 players in this class become these 3 guys at the end, Peterson, DeBonsta, and Ament, hey, this is a big deal when you hear DeBonsta talking to Kevin Durant about that. Do you think the Ament pick at 13 is a no-lose situation for this Bucks basketball team? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Stream us live on social media at WI Sports Radio on X, Instagram Live, as well as on YouTube. Make sure when you're there, pound that like button and subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page as well. All right, Charlie, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if I would 100% go with it's a no-lose situation for the Milwaukee Bucks. I think to some degree you still traded away Giannis Antetokounmpo, and if you trade away Giannis Antetokounmpo, there's a lot of risk inherited with that. And I think if this player doesn't work out in the long term, it's not all of a sudden a no-lose situation. I think in the immediate now, it could be if he ends up being that type of player where he can go out there and have that type of impact. But I just don't think he is that. I know he did that in high school. High school is really cool. That's really awesome to see. I've seen a lot of awesome, really cool high school mixtapes in my life. I just don't think that watching that and all of a sudden getting hyped off of that. Now, AJ DeBonsta, that's kind of cool. I think we also knew that prior to the draft, those couple weeks to a month before the draft, he was starting to rise a little bit, and people are starting to say that the Bucks were his floor at 10, and that 10 was going to be a tough place for the Bucks to get him. If they wanted to get him, they potentially would have to trade up to move a couple spots up to get a player like that. I think the fact that they got him at 13, and going back to the kind of conspiracy theory you're putting out there, I don't know if it has anything to do with them thinking they need to prove themselves right with this pick. I think what it shows is that Braden Burries was a player that was more highly coveted with those next couple of teams in the Warriors and the OKC Thunder than Ahmet was, and that they went in there thinking we have to get that player because we like him a lot too, and he's not going to be there at 13. So let's go and get him first because the immediate need to get him is there. While Amens is back at 13, where we know these two teams who are not looking for project players are looking for somebody that can come in and impact right now off the bench or in the starting lineup potentially. They can go and get that player. I think this is a spot for the Bucks where I like it better than if they had drafted him at 10. At the same time, I'm not having these super high expectations, even with Dybansa saying that, of him being this top 3 player right now.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're probably right on how this all looks or whatever else. And the Bucks may get lucky that it happened to be 13, because if it's not 13 and if he does go 10 and they take the other dude at 13, that's the dude that's going to be put there. We had Don Wachilis on yesterday. He said the dude's Malcolm Brogdon. Oh, that's nice.
I went back and looked at Malcolm.
Nice role player, right? Made $20 million a year from Indiana because they overpaid him.
His best season was averaging 21, 4, and 5. Like, that's a really good season. And he retired early throughout his career. He averaged 14, 4, and 4. Like, that's a super solid player to a potential championship team like he was for Boston.
It's interesting because Brian Windhorst continues to throw out on ESPN that they're looking for essential size plus at every position, meaning if the average point guard is 6'1", they want to be 6'3" or 6'4", which that kid is. We keep saying he's going to play off the ball. I still think he is because I don't think they're going to bench Ryan Rollins. But either way, so he would fit that deal where Brogdon was bigger too. So that's that. Then if your average shooting guard in the NBA is, say, 6'4", 6'5", they want 6'6", 6'7". And small forward, if you're saying, okay, the average guy is 6'7", 6'8", maybe they want 6'9", 6'10". And type deal. They want to be a big, long basketball team. That's how they want to build this new version. Now, Ament, depending on how big he gets, is going to be a 3 or a 4, one way or the other, right? That's how this is going to play. Avery Johnson, who, again, former NBA head coach, former college basketball coach, former player with the San Antonio Spurs. He was on TV. What was it? CBS Sports, I believe it was, talking about this pick of Nate Ament and his thoughts.
I love this pick. Nate Ament was one of my favorite players in the draft. We know the job that Coach Barnes did with Kevin Durant at Tennessee, and I think he did a really good job with Nate at Tennessee. Obviously, Coach Barnes had Kevin Durant at Texas. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, size, skill, projecting this kid forward, if he has the minutes and stays healthy, this could be one of the surprises in terms of this kid potentially being in the Rookie of the Year conversation. I think this kid is that good. He can score the ball. He's got terrific range. He gets to the free throw line. Yes, I know some of his toughness was questionable during certain parts of the season, but I believe, in 3 years when we redraft this class, this kid could very well be someone that we should have taken in the top 5.
Telling you, like, it's just one after another as we go through and listen to this thing. Yahoo Sports, they're another one who had 3-4 people up there, former NBA players, all this. They're having a conversation about Nate Ament as well.
And I think for Ament here, he's a very raw prospect. There was an up and down year for him at Tennessee this past season, but he's 6'10", can handle the ball. He can shoot. He can make plays off the dribble. He's a high IQ player. Those types of players don't come around every single year. And so I think for the Milwaukee Bucks in this post-Giannis era, they got a good player that we all agreed has role player upside with a chance to be much more than that with Braden Burries, and now with Nate Ament. There's a low floor with him, but there's also an incredibly high ceiling with his ability off the dribble, with his size and skill combination.
I don't know. They just got rid of Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he was described as a low floor, extremely high upside. So they're almost doing the same thing here with Ament, because you look at him coming into Tennessee, I think he was highly recruited, or he had a very big reputation coming in, and now it still feels raw. You know, the selection here that he's a raw talent, but man, if you got rid of Giannis and you're going for a big 6'10" guy who can potentially have a high ceiling at the next level, feels like that's the guy.
100%. And I think that one of the knocks on him was that he wasn't tough enough. But to go play for Rick Barnes, same thing like I alluded to earlier when I talked about Kingston Flemings, to go play for Kelvin Sampson at Houston. To go play for Rick Barnes, he demands a lot. And you are going to be a tough player by playing for Rick Barnes. And one thing that I was impressed with Nate Ament is his ability to make winning plays. Like, I think that we didn't give him enough credit when it came to his hustle plays, his competitiveness, wanting to win, wanting to defend, embracing the challenge. Because early on in the season, my man was not good.
Yeah.
That's right. He wasn't good. But the thing, when you're talking about drafting a player in the NBA, different than even the NFL and far different than Major League Baseball, is these guys are looking for upside, potential, and flashes. Give me some flashes of what you may look like if you can get consistent and if you can get it put together. And now, again, it's different, right? If you're a senior, if you're a fifth-year senior or a seventh-year senior, however old they get now in college, if whatever that is, if you're old, then that doesn't apply to you. But if you're 19 and you put together a stretch of games like he did for 12 or 13 games during the second half of the season, you put that together, that's when all the scouts who saw you play in high school go, there's the guy that we thought was going to be here all year at Tennessee. Look, he's still here. This is the guy that we thought we were going to see. Now, a lot of people down in Tennessee thought that he should have stayed in school. Why? Because they thought he might have a potential to be a top 3 pick next year had he come back and played one more year at Tennessee. Obviously, Nate Ament wanted to get to the NBA, didn't want to go to school for another year and so forth. I'm just telling you, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Nate Ament's definitely a superstar. But when A.J. DeBonsta, the number 1 prospect in this class, says 3 guys that he thinks are going to be stars in the NBA, the future of the NBA, and he says him, Peterson, who went 2 to Utah, and Nate Ament, without hesitation, is his 3rd guy, and the list stops from DeBonsta, that's a really, really good sign for a Bucks fan. Maybe they got lucky again. Maybe they got another star here in the making with Nate Ament. But again, he's 19, right? This ain't going to happen overnight. He's got to put on significant weight. You know, he is thin. Not maybe as thin as Giannis was coming over here, but he is thin. There is hope there. Burries is going to be a good player, too. I got some text coming in here, the Nikolai Law Talking text line from the 262. Burries seems like a 2 to 3 years from now impact player. Ament, with all his upside, is a project, plain and simple. He is so raw. But with the rawness comes an opportunity for the right coach to make him a superstar. That is Ziggy. And that is why we go back to Taylor Jenkins and look at the job that he did developing guys with the Grizzlies. And now you put him with a really, really young team with the Bucks. And I think as a Bucks fan, you can get a little bit excited here thinking about what might be going forward. Now, do they have a roster loaded with potential stars? Absolutely not.
Jericho Sims just picked up his player option. $2.8 million, Sparky.
Of course he did. Where else is he going to get that from? You know what else?
Talented young player.
I got to tell you something else. So I shop at the Pick and Save in Oak Creek, right? I always go there. And the one dude that works there, JJ, he is always, me and JJ are always talking. He's a younger dude, and we are always talking sports all the time. So I go there last night to get some stuff, and I'm out at the minivan, putting stuff in the minivan, and I hadn't seen him because he wasn't cashiering. All of a sudden, he goes, Rob, Sparky. I was like, hey, what's up, man? So we started talking. You know what this man said to me? Man, I really like Jericho Sims, man. I think, man, he can be really good. I like Jericho Sims. I was like, man, you and my producer.
He's a dog.
Fan club with 2. Jericho Sims fan club.
He got some praise at the end of the season last year. He got some praise. He's a good hustle guy. He's a guy that's good for the culture. Come on.
Yeah, good for the culture. I don't know. Anybody in that roster last year, are any of them good for the culture considering how bad that was?
Only my boy Jericho.
Yeah, I don't know. But we'll see about Jericho Sims. Who knows? I just thought it was funny that somebody else besides Charlie likes Jericho Sims. From the 414, hey, Sparky, Jeff in Milwaukee, heard a lot of good things about both our draft picks. We got our players plus the Heat picks, just awfully young. Hope Jenkins can make us a 40-win team first year. Should I tell them what I think this team is going to be their first year? Now, again, we haven't hit free agency. There were some rumblings and rumors last night about the Bucks getting involved on LaMelo Ball. Well, he got traded to the T-Wolves earlier today, so they're not getting LaMelo Ball. For nothing. Yes.
It was
that
crazy.
Package was awful that the Hornets got for him. Awful. Like, people are like, oh, the Giannis package. Man, they got a bunch of swaps.
They got one
real first-round pick. One real first-round pick, like 3 first-round swaps and some second-rounders.
3 seconds and Nas Reed. Who wants Nas Reed? When
I like I like Nas Reed.
You like Nas Reed if you're a championship team or wanting to contend.
Yes.
Not if you're the Hornets.
True. As far as the developmental guy, you're probably right about that. I do like Nas Reed, though. But having said that, that ain't anything for LaMelo Ball. And now you get LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards in that backcourt. So unless the Bucks go find them a star player somehow, some way between now and, opening night, as we sit right now, I would say 25 to 30 wins is probably the range where I would put this Bucks team at going into next year. It's probably more closer to 25 than 30, but I would say like 25 to 30 wins. And I would probably think that in the second half, back half of the year, is probably when they start to pick up steam maybe and start to maybe find the rhythm a little bit. Now, some of that will be other teams like winding it down at the end of the year, giving up on the season. But if Jenkins keeps these guys playing hard all year, and that's the hope, then you might be able to pick up a few cheap wins at the end of the year.
And that would be fun to see. That would be exciting to watch for a Bucks team and a Bucks fandom that I think is going to start the season off pretty melodramatic next year. I think everybody's going to be kind of not really wanting to watch this squad. Every bad thing that happens, people are going to say, oh, yep, this is just exactly what was going to happen with Giannis gone. It'd be nice to see a second half of the year where you at least get a little bit of hope, even if it's not with players that are going to be here long term. It's at least just a start, and I think that's what you want here too. We can go to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line where Trell on the north side is on. Trell, you're on with Sparky here on Wisconsin Sports Daily.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man.
Hey, man, I love the 2 picks. Like I told Charlie, and I think it was Ryan Bush at the draft thing. I think John Horst played the game how he did this, and I love the way that he maneuvered in these picks. I heard one of the guys you talked to, Sparky, talking about he think Nate Amen had an attitude or something like that.
That was Donwood Chillis brought it up. Donwood Chillis yesterday in College Sports Weekly was on the show in the 4 o'clock hour, and he said he didn't like his body language when he didn't go 10 because he kind of like sulked a little bit because that's what he thought was his basement. And I told Don, I was like, hey, man, like if the agents pump you up going, you're not falling lower than 10, you're not falling lower than 10, and then you fall lower than 10, you're going to probably have a reaction like, damn, I thought this is where it was supposed to end.
The Bucks gave him a promise, I think. The Bucks gave him a promise at 10, but when Burris fell, that's why I said I think John Horst did something because he probably didn't expect Burris to be there because I didn't expect him to be there. Right. So, of course, that was a great move by getting him because then you made both of the picks you got be exactly what you wanted. And I agree with that. I've been doing some research on this kid because at first when we talked about this some weeks ago, I was like, oh, no, I don't want him. But then I went to go do research. Man, he's good, man. And one thing of difference between him and Giannis, he can actually shoot. Like, he can shoot for real. Like, he's just smaller frame like Giannis. But him and Giannis' games are totally different. I look at him as the guy that Taylor in Memphis,
Jaren Jackson.
And then I look at Burris as Desmond Bain, a bigger guard that can shoot. So when I looked at him, I'm like, I can see the vision a little bit. So that's how I'm looking at it. I think it's going to be really good. I ain't saying next year, but I think if they keep developing them and they stay healthy, they're going to be really key cogs for the Bucks in the development and rebuild. So
they need to figure out how to get it. They need to figure out how to get a 1 next year. They've got to figure out how to fix that issue. They cannot go a year without draft picks. Like, that cannot be a thing. They've got to figure it out. I don't know who gets dealt to get that pick or whatever, but between now and the end of that trade deadline, I think they got to find another first-round pick for next year. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. From the 414, they have a star player, Tyler Hero.
You just got another one from the 919. 46 wins. Hero is an all-star.
Yeah, I see that. I'm assuming family members or friends. Listen, first of all, let's just say he makes an all-star game this year. Because if he is on this roster, Tyler Hero, who's going to get all the shots? It's going to be him and Ryan Rollins, right? So he's going to get 20 shots a night. Hero's going to put up, 24, 25 points a night probably for the Bucks. And then when they get to the deadline, he's out of here. They're going to trade him. He's an expiring contract at $30-some million. They cannot afford to pay this cat $40 to $45 million a year. And they can't afford to let him just walk and get nothing. So that might be a play, too, from John Horst of, you know what? I'm going to roll the dice that he can, A, stay healthy, which is always a shaky situation. And if he does, he can have really, really good stuff going on. As far as numbers, assist numbers, look, if Hero throws up 25 a night and averages 6 boards, 6 assists a night, you're going to get a bag of something good, right, at the trade deadline. You'll at least get a first-round pick in that draft and probably something else in the future for somebody to rent Hero to make that run into the postseason.
Oh, for sure. And I think that if you look at what you got from LaMelo Ball, or what Minnesota gave for LaMelo Ball this morning over the night, I think you have to see that package and say that we need better than that for Tyler Hero. If that's what we are expecting to do with him as a player, we need to give him the opportunity to go and prove that he's worth more than what that package was. And I don't think the Milwaukee Bucks should settle for that package when you spent all this time not settling for Giannis's package too.
You know, the other part about this that is, it's a kind of fun thing. We haven't taken a break yet, have we?
We have not. We should soon.
Damn. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue to talk about this. Asking you a real simple question. Is this a no-lose situation for the Bucks with Ament and this pick at 13? It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at SUMMERFEST with the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. I checked before the show. Nobody has gotten a hole-in-one yet. $5,000 to the first person that gets the hole-in-one. It's $10 for 3 golf balls. Come on out here. Check it out. Do your thing. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, proudly outfitted by Burkhardt Sporting Goods, our official apparel sponsor. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG1881.com. BSG1881.com. Coming up next, we'll get more into having this conversation about Nate Amen. Plus, I want to switch gears, talk a little bit about the Brewers after they went another series against the Reds. And there was some news earlier here in this half hour. Craig Yoho, option to AAA Nashville. Corresponding move expected tomorrow from the Brewers. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from SUMMERFEST, baby, right by the X-Golf hole-in-one. First one to get a hole-in-one wins $5,000. That's right. I said $5,000. And how cool would it be if you won $5,000 at the end of the day? Be pretty cool, right? You just got to make a hole-in-one. Chuck Garbini on golf says it's easy. It's easy. He could show Charlie how to do it. Well, by God, Charlie.
I got talent, I think.
You need to tell Chuck you could use $5,000.
That's true, too.
You could use $5,000, right? Come on down here. Show Charlie how to hit a hole-in-one so Charlie can win $5,000, except I don't think he can because he works at the radio station and we're one of the sponsors.
So $5,000 in spirit, at least.
I don't think you technically can. I'll tell you a little bit more about Nate Ament. Is this a no-lose situation for the Bucks? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. Justin in Watertown. You are next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up?
Hey, guys. So if you draft someone at 13, then anything you get out of him is a win, in my opinion. When the way the NBA is. My bigger question is I haven't heard anything because I'm not really paying attention to the NBA too much these days. Are they talking about trading Miles Turner or are they not?
I'm sorry. What did you say? I missed you.
Are they looking at trading Miles Turner or are they not looking at trading Miles Turner? What are they thinking with him?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen reports that Toronto was potentially interested in Miles Turner. We've seen reports that they were willing to listen to offers on Miles Turner, willing to listen to offers on Tyler Hero as well. Are they actively pursuing trading either one of them? I don't know if we really know the answer to that right now as far as, are they actively calling people trying to move Tyler Hero? Or are they just chilling and seeing who gets, what kind of calls they get in and so forth? If I know John Horst, I would assume he's being active in trying to move Hero because that's an expiring contract. Turner,
right.
maybe not as much for Miles Turner because you got to remember this whole they don't want to be, necessarily between 1 and 3. Also, don't forget, whatever they do this year does not affect their own draft status. They don't have a number 1 pick. So if they're really, really bad, it's going to help somebody else out, not named the Milwaukee Bucks. So from that perspective, you can argue that, hey, we still want to be competitive. Like the Pelicans, for instance. The Pelicans didn't have a 1, and they just kept playing hard all the way out and said, nope, screw you. Whoever gets our pick, you're not going to just get a top 3 pick because we were bad this year. We're going to play hard, and that has to be the mentality of the Bucks. So if you give up Miles Turner, Jericho Sims is your guy for 30 minutes a night. That's going to win you. I mean, yeah. I just don't know if that really is going to be the plan.
True. I mean, is it one of those things where they could trade him at the deadline then if he actually plays halfway decent? I mean, I'm just wondering because if it is a rebuild, I mean, we're not building around Miles Turner because Miles Turner is not a guy to build around. Could he be a complimentary piece? Sure, but by the time these guys get old enough, he's going to be gone.
Well, I agree. Miles Turner isn't the guy to build around for sure. Thanks for the call, Justin. I agree 100% with that. And you're the organization that gave him this long contract. Remember, that was you. You were the ones that decided to waive Damian Lillard, stretch and waive Damian Lillard, and then pay Miles Turner all this money. Now you're stuck with this contract. And there is some thought that maybe Miles Turner said what he said about Giannis trying to get himself traded out in Milwaukee because maybe he didn't want to be in Milwaukee anymore. And figured, well, I go after the star player, then they'll have to trade me so I can get out of Milwaukee and go play somewhere else. I think you listen to offers for Miles Turner and you see what you can get. I don't think you trade Miles Turner's necessarily just to trade Miles Turner if you're trying to compete and win games this year. If this was a situation where you controlled your own 1 and winning wasn't that big of a deal, like maybe this last year wasn't that big of a deal, then I think, yes, gone. See ya, bye-bye. But if you're trying to make sure somebody else doesn't end up with your pick and gets a top pick or a top 3 pick, and then you have egg all over your face for trading that pick a while back, if you're trying to avoid that, then it may make sense. And the other part of this that we don't know, what does Taylor Jenkins think of Miles Turner? Like, does Taylor Jenkins think that he can get better out of Miles Turner than Doc Rivers got out of Miles Turner? It can't be that hard to get better out of Miles Turner than Doc Rivers did.
It's got to be probably the easiest thing to get more out of Miles Turner. You got basically nothing out of Miles Turner last season. Doc Rivers was out there, and it didn't really feel like he was able to motivate a whole lot of that team at all, including Miles Turner. I think this is a chance for the Milwaukee Bucks because you spent so much money on him, because you went and waived and stretched Damian Lillard for Miles Turner to kind of make this move. And because now you, like you mentioned, you don't have your first round draft pick next season. I think you look at this and say, you know what, Miles, this is the most blank slate possible for you this upcoming season. Just go and play basketball, please. Just go and do what you did when you were on some bad Indiana Pacers teams and you had to carry for a little bit there. Just go out there and do what you've done your entire career before last season, which should be better than anything you got last year. Like even the bare minimum of what you did before that, your rookie season, I think was the last time he had stats that matched the stat line that he had from last season. If you do what you did your rookie season, it will still be better than what we got last season. Just go and do that. You can't afford to just give up on that right now because you've invested so much directly and indirectly into that move.
From the 414, longtime listener, first-time texter, Sparky. They need to let Cormac Ryan cook. Kid looked great in his 11 games for us last year. 14 points per game, couple rebounds per game, an assist and a half per game. Plays defense, scrappy as heck out there. What are your thoughts? Now, what did I tell you? I said to you, I believe at the end of last year, like, he looks like a better shooter to me than A.J. Green looks like when A.J. Green is out there, right? And again, Cormac Ryan is not 19 years old. He's a little bit older, getting his breakthrough moment at the end of last year. Yeah, I'm fine letting Cormac Ryan cook, as you put it. Letting him get some run and get some playing time. I think he is kind of like Taylor Jenkins' guy. And that was the benefit. Cormac Ryan benefited from them being awful. Because if they were good, Cormac Ryan never gets run with this Bucks organization last year. He did. He put on a little bit of a show at the end of last year. And now you hope that this kind of maybe leaks over and you get more run out of Cormac Ryan. Another really good shooter outside, a little bit longer, energy, effort guy, I guess would be the best way to put it. Seems like a pretty decent, smart basketball IQ guy as well. Now, let's settle down. Like, I don't think he's going to be some all-star or something. But again, why can't he be a seventh guy or eighth guy in this rotation for the Milwaukee Bucks if he's shooting the basketball well? If you're Taylor Jenkins and you get into the season and you don't really know what it's going to be, right? You go in with this mindset, okay, season starts, this is my starting five. But you keep an open mind to the idea of, hey, man, by the time we get to April, I might have 5 different players in my starting five. I may have 3 different players. Maybe it is still the same starting five. It's going to be in a revolving thing all year long as far as who's getting minutes, who's playing with who, what the rotations look like, what the starting lineup looks like. That's going to be constantly changing. It has to be because there's too many question marks. You can't go in like it's Ray, Glenn, Tim, and Sam, and Scott Williams or even Magic Johnson and go, these are our 5. We're not changing it all year. You're not in that situation. When you're a young team, you have to be willing to be fluid to give everybody chances that deserve chances, that earn those chances, Charlie.
And you have to be, I guess, open to encouraging those players too once they get going, that if one guy's on a hot streak, that you're giving the ball to that guy, making sure that guy feels confident. I think, again, what Doc Rivers did wrong last year is that when you did have guys on hot streaks, you didn't really keep up with them. You kept changing the rotation. You would move Ryan Rollins back and forth from the starter to the bench just because Giannis was coming back or just because Bobby Portis was playing well and that you need to give your veterans those minutes. I think if you have a hot hand, you have to roll with the hot hand on a young team like this. And I think if you do that, if you give those guys that encouragement from the coaching staff, they don't have to find it in a Kyle Kuzma who's looking to try to kind of be selfish and get himself those own baskets too. And if he gets on the good side of these young players, maybe they'll pass him the ball a little bit more. That's what that felt like. And Doc Rivers just kind of lost control of the locker room overall and got kind of jaded about how the locker room was treating him back. I think if Taylor Jenkins goes in with a different mentality of wanting to uplift these young players and encourage them to be shot chuckers sometimes, if that's what you're going to be, but also encourage them when they start playing really good defense, you have to be out there making sure that you're the one giving them that and not somebody else on the bench, somebody else from the outside that could be changing their perspective of what this team could be.
The guy they tweeted about or texted us about Hero being a star player said he is not a family member. Nice try. I don't know. I mean, it's a 414 area code. Would make sense.
And Justin in North Carolina was the other one.
Yeah, Justin says 46 wins. Hero is an all-star. Again, like I said, he probably will be an all-star because he's going to take all the shots. I mean, he should average 20 shots or more with what he's got around him. He should have a 25-point year, 5 boards, 6 assists, whatever. It's a contract year, another reason for him to go off and have a big year. And then hopefully, you can move him at the deadline and get a bunch for him. From the 414, the next move the Bucks have to make is a Kuzma trade. I don't care if it's for another player, a second round pick, or a Culver's gift card. You mean Wendy's. Just get him off my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
want
fine
Kuzma.
with that. I'm done with it.
Fine. You could trade Kuzma for a biggie bag at Wendy's, and I'd much rather have the biggie bag at Wendy's. I definitely would rather have that banana frosty swirl at Wendy's right now. That thing is amazing in itself. So, yeah, I don't. You'll never hear me defend keeping Kuzma at this point. I'm beyond done with Kuzma. Chuck Southside, you are next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Chuck?
Yeah,
Chuck.
I don't really complain about Hero for it, about not giving him a raise with his contract. He's Milwaukee area. You need something to fill that damn arena up.
He's not filling it.
Needs a bunch of rookies ain't going to fill that arena up. You got a hometown boy coming in, getting maybe 25, 30 points a game. That's a great mark. What do you mean, no?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No. I don't think you're right. I don't think Tyler Hero is filling that stadium.
When that stadium's half empty this year, when they're burned off with these rookies and they win 10 games in 2 months, yeah, tell me about it, okay?
Chuck, Michael Redd couldn't fill the stadium. Bogut couldn't fill the stadium. Go through actual legitimate players.
Was Michael Redd from here? Was he from Milwaukee?
No, but he was a really good player.
Okay,
better than Tyler Hero.
Hero's at least a good shooter.
Michael Redd wasn't a good shooter.
What?
Chuck, Michael Redd wasn't a good shooter.
You're comparing him to Michael Redd. Boy, that is way smart. You got a local boy here comparing to Michael Redd.
I don't care that he's local, Chuck. Thanks for the call. Listen, I want to explain something to you. I do not care that this kid is local. I don't care. In fact, his parents live right by where we work. I do not care. It does not matter. Nor do half of the other people care that he's going to be in that stadium. If you think Tyler Hero is putting 16,000 people inside Fiserv Forum because he's Tyler Hero, you have something completely different in mind than I do as far as what this fan base is going to do. Could he sell some jerseys? Yes. Could he draw a few people? Sure. Is it going to be noticeable as far as people in the stands? No. When they're at 10 or 15 wins in January and Tyler Hero's doing all this, people aren't going. They're not going. Tyler Hero or not, they're not going. Charlie Houston, C-Sparky Fight for Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from Summerfest, baby, right by the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. Come on out, say hi. $10 for 3 golf balls and your chance to win $5,000 if you are the first one at Summerfest to hit a hole-in-one. I went over there. I checked right before 2 o'clock before we came on the air, and they said, yep, nobody yet has done it. Remember last year when we were here, there was a car sponsor of some sort, and a guy hit it before we even went on the air last year on day one of Summerfest, and the car was gone, and obviously that affected how many people were going to go and essentially try to play for second or third place. But right now, second weekend underway today, and it is still available to be won, that $5,000. We don't have much time here before we have to get to another break. Coming up on the other side, let's talk about the Brewers. We'll do some Brewers at 3, some Packers at 3:20. Charlie Sounds of the day at 3:40. Had somebody earlier on the Talk and Text line complaining about, when is all this Giannis talk going to stop? This has been a garbage week. I'll check back in next week.
Like, we're not going to talk about this?
I'm sorry. Like, I can't do much about it. Like, we try to cover all the sports and so forth, but Giannis, Bucks draft, all of that, that is the topic right now. There's not a ton going on with the Packers. There certainly is with the Brewers, and we'll get more to that concerning the Brewers, coming up here in the next segment at 3 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is that time again, 3 o'clock hour. Welcome in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at SUMMERFest. Hole-in-one challenge, X Golf. They're doing it to it right now, buddy. $10 get you 3 golf balls. If you are the first one to hit a hole-in-one at SUMMERFest, $5,000 is yours, but you have to be the first one to do it at SUMMERFest. At last check-in an hour ago, nobody had done it yet, and we are at the start of our day number, what would this be, day number 4, start of the second weekend out here at SUMMERFest. So still plenty of time today, tomorrow, Saturday, next weekend as well. Next Thursday, Mitch Thunder Nellis will be out here filling in for me because I'm off Monday through Thursday. Then we'll be back next Friday doing Wisconsin Sports Daily. I'll be out here. Aaron Morris will be filling in for Charlie, who's taking a break for the 4th of July weekend as well. But we'll be out here at SUMMERFest 2 to 5. So come hang out with us Thursday with Thunder Nellis and myself here next Friday. And, of course, back out here tomorrow like normal. Tomorrow, the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz out here. Brewers Cubs tomorrow night. He'll be out here doing the leadoff show once I'm done from 5 until 6:30. And Tommy's like, we're doing the leadoff show out there? Yeah, man. It's SUMMERFest. You know how many Illinois Cub fans are going to be walking around this joint? Yes, I want you to do the leadoff show.
He's scared?
Absolutely.
He's scared they're going to come and like high-five him for being a Cubs fan and everything?
No, you heard what happened. Hey, man, since I'm doing the leadoff show, can I have off the post-game show? Yeah, dude, you can have the off post-game show. So Aaron's going to do the post-game show with him. I just don't want nobody to start nothing with Tommy, man, because Tommy, you trip Tommy's trigger a little bit. Tommy may get up from behind this table and do something.
Oh, that can make for good radio, maybe, though. You never know.
Yeah, but then I lose Tommy as an employee. I don't want that to happen.
Well, Tommy can control himself. He can still be a good radio personality while, putting somebody away.
Nope, I don't think he can. No, I disagree. It's 3 o'clock. Let's get to it. He can't find you.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's talk about the crew. The Milwaukee Brewers are rolling. Yes, they are. They disposed of the Cincinnati Reds in a clean sweep. They were god-awful with runners in scoring position. I believe they had one hit. That was the Andrew Vaughn pinch hit double down the left field line to clear a bases-loaded situation that got them to 6 runs, which they needed because that Brewers bullpen was not good yesterday. And again, they were using the back end of that bullpen. Craig Yoho, he pitched yesterday. He gone. He's been sent down to Nashville. Who has come back? Jared Koenig has come back, or will come back officially, will be activated coming up tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll see Jared Koenig in that series this weekend against the Cubs. And Jared Koenig is a guy this Brewers team really, really needs in this bullpen right now. Charlie? Did I lose Charlie?
You couldn't hear me?
No, I did not hear you. But go ahead and talk now, Charlie.
Jared Koenig, I'm extremely excited about him coming back. We talked about this about a month or two ago. We had Andrew Vaughn, Jackson Chourio, Jared Koenig, Brandon Woodruff, Quinn Priester, all these guys that were all on the IL or on some kind of injured list. And I think that Jared Koenig by far is going to be one of the most important pieces coming back to this Brewers team. I think having that one extra arm in the bullpen from what we've seen from some of the other guys that we thought would be the stalwarts, the guys that have shown in the past to be all-star caliber type players, guys that have gone out there, they've been shaky at points this season. The Abner Uribes, the Trevor McGills, the Aaron Ashby's of late. I think he started the season so hot and they've used him so much that you can kind of understand why he's taken that step back. This gives him a break. This gives DL Hall, when he eventually comes back and is healthy too, because he has his own injury concerns, this gives him a break because he started off the season so well. I think this is going to be a really exciting move for this Brewers team and really takes a lot of pressure off of some guys that I think have taken on more pressure in that bullpen this year than maybe they expected to. And they've handled it really well, but it would still be nice to have a little bit of that off your back.
Yeah, for sure. And remember, last year, Jared Koenig was a guy that they would go to in leverage situations and he just come in, shut the door, and get them out of situations in different aspects. And was an arm that they really, really relied on, and they have not had that arm at their disposal in the bullpen. Now, so far this year, he has pitched in 11 games down in the minors, 2-1 with a 3.72 ERA for Jared Koenig. 9 2/3 innings, 11 strikeouts. That whip number, which is walks plus hits divided by innings pitch, is 166 for Jared Koenig. So this is going to be something fun to see as far as how effective he can be coming back. I'll tell you this much. I'm going to have more faith in him than I do Kunal, even though Kunal got his second save last night. I'm going to have more faith in him than I did Craig Yoho. That much I know.
Easy.
And maybe there are people that believe in Grant Anderson. I'm not quite sure. I'm still one of them, even though he deserves to be believed in. I still get nervous every time that dude comes out of the bullpen. So I believe in Jared Koenig.
Every time he comes out of the bullpen.
I believe in Jared Koenig over those three guys for certain, Charlie.
Oh, 100%. And again, I think if you wanted to start going into later through the season, like we talked about, I think a week ago, if you wanted to start giving some of these guys an extra day of rest, Jared Koenig's a really good option for one of those bullpen days, for an opener day. If you wanted to start giving Jacob Mizorowski more often that day off, Kyle Harrison that day off, Brandon Woodruff is going to start needing days off later on in the season, especially if he keeps pitching the way he started in this first game against the Reds back from the injured list. I think this is, again, a move that's going to be really important, not only for the bullpen, but just for the pitching staff in general. And again, gives a lot of confidence to guys that have been taking on a bigger load than maybe they expect.
So the one thing that we've noticed about this Brewers team is last night's a perfect example, right? You get that big lead, 6-1, you're feeling good about yourself, and then it starts to fall apart on you, and you still figure out a way to win the game. And now you're at 20 games over 500. 20 games over 500. That is a new best for you during the regular season this year for the Milwaukee Brewers, a new season high, which is good news as well. Now the question becomes, is this really going to be the year for the Brewers? Is this really going to be the year that they finally make that run to the World Series? Does it feel to you kind of like a World Series team? Does it feel kind of like a special type deal right now for the Milwaukee Brewers? Are you thinking the Brewers are going to be that team to come out of the NL? Listen, we've seen good baseball teams in the past in Milwaukee, right? And we've seen good baseball teams go to the playoffs and lose, whether it be to the Dodgers in the NLCS or lose to somebody else in the wild card or the divisional round. Is this now going to be the year that this team figures out a way to get themselves the World Series? Do they have it put together right now from a roster standpoint where you're feeling pretty confident that, you know what, this team actually probably could potentially go to a World Series and go do some damage in the playoffs this year? You've heard national guys like on MLB Network talk about, hey, man, don't rule out the Brewers being in the World Series and representing the NL, that maybe they do have the team that can knock out the Dodgers and the Braves when you get into the postseason. The Brewers, as we sit right now, have the second best record in baseball behind the Dodgers. That's all. That's all there is. They're in front of the Braves now. So that is who they're chasing. Now, last year, they did have the best record, and it still didn't matter because the Dodgers got their pitchers back in time for the postseason, and the Brewers' bats went cold. So are the Brewers your World Series favorites? That's what we want to know. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the social, streaming live at WI Sports Radio. You can watch us on Instagram Live, on X, on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button when you're there on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. And, of course, on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page as well. Charlie, do you look at this team as potentially your World Series favorites?
I want to, but when you lose that series to the Dodgers earlier, you get swept by them.
That doesn't mean anything. Last year they swept the Dodgers and they still lost.
I know. When you lose this most recent series to Atlanta, it still gives you a little bit of hope if you can go out and win those. And I think it makes you feel a little bit more confident. And I understand that you can go out and win these games late and have great kind of perseverance from your bullpen against a team like the Cincinnati Reds. At the same time, it's the Cincinnati Reds, and I want to see this against the Dodgers. I just want to get that feeling of, oh dang, they've got them. They know how to handle this team. And yes, even though last season they killed them in the regular season, and then the Dodgers came out and just looked like a completely different class of team in the playoffs, it still felt like I had more confidence going into that series than I would have if they would have lost every series in the regular season to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think if you go out there and can take care of Atlanta, a team who has won a World Series in the past 5 years, and take care of them in the regular season when they're playing hot, that makes you feel really comfortable. And you just haven't done that yet this season. I think overall this team, through all the injuries, through these moments where you feel like there's not enough and they still find ways to win, it just feels like how I felt at the end of last season, where I felt confident but not super confident. I want to, for a World Series, for the opportunity to say that they're my favorites, I want to go in saying this team, nobody can beat them.
I don't know if you can get to the point, maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't know if you can get to the point right now looking at this and say to yourself, I'm going to go into the postseason with the idea that nobody is beating this team in the NL. Just from a talent perspective alone, like you're not going to be able to say that if we're just looking at talent, the Dodgers roster versus the Brewers roster. Like you're going to be grasping for straws trying to make that back and forth. The one thing that gives me hope and so forth about this team being a World Series team is they are showing time and time again ways to win baseball games, even though they're in a position where maybe they shouldn't. Now, last year you could say, and God knows Cub fans did, that, they're just really lucky. They got things that bounce their way all the time. That was the big deal last year on this Brewers team, that eventually their luck's going to run out, and you'll see. Well, I don't know if it necessarily ran out. They just ran into a buzzsaw named the LA Dodgers, and that's how it ended, and their bats went cold. The one thing that I continuously get texted to me about this Brewers team, that what they're missing is they need another bat. They need another bat. That's the one thing I always hear that I think are leaving people a little bit scared of saying, yeah, man, they absolutely are going to be could be a World Series team this year. I think if you had one more bat, I think maybe that pushes some people over the top. From the 414, yeah, they are World Series contenders if they add something at the deadline, preferably Skubal or a bat for third base. I think a starting pitcher, a third baseman with a bat, and a reliever. If you were going to say, what 2 or 3 things do they need, I think those would be the 3 things that people would say. Another reliever, maybe to solidify the back end of that bullpen with McGill and Uribe, a power bat at third base, and then maybe a third starter if you don't think Brandon Woodruff can keep this up the rest of the year and stay healthy, and you don't want to gamble that he's still going to be healthy by the time the postseason gets here. I think that those 3 make sense. The reality of the situation is they're not trading for 3 guys at the deadline, y'all. It's just not happening. Like, if you trade for Skubal, it could be Skubal and a reliever, and they don't get the bat. If you don't trade for Skubal, then maybe it's a bat and a reliever. Like, the reliever is going to be the cheapest of the 3 that you're probably going to go try and get the deadline, because there's going to be a million relievers out there available that you can go get to add to this bullpen. So that is probably almost a lock that they get a reliever. Now, the other 2, where they go there, it's going to be one or the other, would be my guess, Charlie.
Probably. I guess when I look at this, can't you put outfield in there to some degree? Do you trust Brandon Lockridge to come in and when he's healthy, fill whatever void we feel like we're still missing in a corner outfield slot, compared to a Jared Koenig coming back into this bullpen and filling whatever void we're filling there? Like, I feel like I trust, in my personal opinion, Jared Koenig to come and say he's in that group that fixes that. We're feeling better there than I do about Sal Frelick still playing in the outfield and still getting run in the outfield, or having to rotate, I guess, some of these other guys out there. I still want another piece that's not Blake Perkins, that's not Sal Frelick, that maybe isn't Brandon Lockridge, because I don't know if I trust that still until he comes back and proves that he can be that. If I didn't trust Andrew Vaughn to come back right away, and he's been awesome since he's come back, I'm definitely not going to trust Brandon Lockridge. I don't know. I just feel like there's some other pieces still, too, outside of the 3 you named.
Last night, I saw Vaughn wasn't in the lineup. So I started looking at numbers, called Tim Allen, was on the phone with him. Andrew Vaughn's batting average is better against righties than Jake Bauers, then Sal Frelick, and Garrett Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his on-base percentage may not be like 450 or whatever the hell Jake Bauers' on-base percentage is, because he walks a ton against righties. But he doesn't suck. Vaughn isn't hitting 150 against righties, guys. He's hitting like 273, 274. And was that was against a lefty last night in that situation, so it wasn't a righty. But again, like he doesn't suck. So in my opinion, they very well could look at this and say, okay, Andrew Vaughn in the postseason, you're playing first, Jake Powers is playing right, and we're going with that lineup game in and game out, and we're going to see where this leads us one way or the other. Or they're not going to do that, and Frelick's going to play, and they're going to platoon in the playoffs as well, and Andrew Vaughn is not going to get 4 at-bats in playoff games with a 350 or whatever batting average he's going to have at that point. He's going to sit and watch and be a glorified pinch hitter. And I cannot wait for later in life for Matt Arnold and others to explain to their grandchildren why Andrew Vaughn isn't playing every day in a postseason playoff berth and he's hitting like 340. Like, that's unacceptable. I'm sorry. It does not matter. Unacceptable. So they have time to figure this out and to come to their senses. But that's how you fix that corner outfield spot. Powers goes to right. Vaughn's at first base, and you're good. That's it. Problem solved.
Or Vaughn's at third base, Sparky. You didn't even bring that up.
That would be great.
Be your postseason third baseman. Figure it out.
But but think about this. You only have to put Vaughn at third base unless you put Vaughn at third base if Sal Frelick plays like Sal Frelick did last year, right? If Gary Mitchell is rolling, then, okay, I can't sit those 3. I can't sit Churio, Frelick, or Mitchell, so I got to get Vaughn in. Where am I putting him? Again, you're going to sacrifice defense. That'll be a tough pill to swallow for Pat Murphy and the organization of giving up defense. We don't even know how bad he is defensively. We've only seen him make, one play at third base in 2 games?
Well, and all the clips that Tim Dillard sends you, he sends you lots of great defensive clips.
Yes, he does. Every once in a while, he'll send me video from the park. Dillard will, on the road even, and showing me there's Vaughn taking balls at third base, making those throws, getting ready for his time. If Andrew Vaughn starts at third base in the postseason, or after the trade deadline, they're like, oh, we need to make a trade for third, but Vaughn's our new third baseman. We're going to let him play the next 2 months at third base. I think everybody would be okay with that. I think people would be like, okay, that takes care of third base. That's fine. So you get Scooble, you get a reliever, Vaughn plays third. Let's go.
I think I'm pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Like Sal Frelick, I think at some point you hope can figure it out a little bit, maybe not even get to what he was last year, but I think if he can just be a consistent on-base threat for this team and consistently be a steal threat, then once he gets on base, I think that's just what you're looking for. And then kind of get back to the defense we've seen from him the past few seasons. Not that it's been bad this year, but it just feels like there was so much value to that you could excuse maybe some of his offensive flaws. It just doesn't feel like he's playing defense to the caliber of saying, oh, that excuses what we've seen from the plate.
I got a bunch of text messages coming in here on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Feel free, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. 262 said, hey, Sal's hitting 291 in June, which is good. And I was looking at those numbers last night when we were looking at his
Sparky
numbers
loves
versus right-handed pitching.
The 1 month stats. I hate that. There's an entire season.
1 month
I know
stats.
you love the 1 month stats.
Do you want to know why? Because it's baseball. I'm not playing you because you had a good April in June. Like, who cares? I'm playing you for how well you're playing in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but I'm also not going to change.
You're not Aaron Judge, where it doesn't matter. You're a stud. You'll figure it out. These are guys that are still battling to prove that they should be out there every single day. Those are the guys we're talking about right now.
In the playoffs, when you get into these series, you look at the full season of stats and say, yes,
no,
I think you need to put guys in this spot.
I totally disagree. No, I do not. I will not do that. No, I look at exactly who was hot at the end of the season, and I'm going to ride whoever is hot. I just am. You're telling me if we get to September and Frelick ends up with, I don't know, say he ends up with like a 260 batting average. I'm not sure if that's even possible. But let's say he gets to 260, but then in the last 2-3 weeks of the season, he completely falls off, and he's hitting like $150 the last 3 weeks. You're going to play him every game of the postseason because of what he did prior to the last 3 weeks? I'm not. If he's cold, I'm not playing him. Same thing for Andrew Vaughn. Vaughn is hitting like 450 or something. It is some crazy stat. I was searching for words. I'm looking at my promo guy like, come on, help me with a word. He is hitting like 450 against lefties. Charlie, what happens if we get to September and he goes cold and he looks like Andrew Vaughn of the White Sox? Are we going to still play him like we would if we was May or June? Hell no. Now, certain guys are going to play regardless. Churio's playing regardless. Yelich is playing regardless. Terang, Contreras, those guys all play regardless. The rest of them, no. In my opinion, you play the hot hand. You don't have a lineup full of Prince Fielders and Ryan Brauns and these guys. You play the guys that are hot going into the postseason. That would be my philosophy.
I also just don't think you have a lineup deep enough that, in my mind, that you can go and do that. I think in spots you do, and through 1 through 6, you can get a everyday lineup out of that. But 7 through 9, the guys that are in reserves, if you're going to trust those guys, I don't think I trust them much more if they have 1 month of production leading up to the playoffs than I do a Sal Frelick if he's batting 260 throughout the season, because I've seen that throughout a whole season before of him too. Like, I don't know. I just don't think that I'm going to automatically flip to somebody else in a moment where it feels like this team could make a run, could be there. I'm going with the guys I trust because those are the guys that have done it in the past for this team.
I'm going with the hot bats, unless they're one of the established players we had talked about. 262, is Nolan Arenado a possibility at the deadline? If the D-backs are out of it, right now they're not, because remember, you got these wild card spots. So even though you may be chasing the Dodgers and you're way out, or if you're the Cubs and the Cardinals and you're way out from the Brewers, doesn't mean that you're way out of the wild card spot. You may be 10, 12 games outside of first place behind the Brewers, and you might be 2 games out of the last wild card spot, Charlie. And in that situation, now the GM and the owner of that team have to figure out, okay, how important us getting into the playoffs for a wild card is it versus, no, we don't have enough to win a World Series, so we're bailing and we're going to sell and we'll try it again next year. I think most GMs, most owners would say, let's take a crack at this and see if we can get into the playoffs to have a playoff game or two and get some of that revenue coming in the front door, which means the seller's market then shrinks considerably if you've got 5, 6, 7 teams all interested in trying to secure one of the wild card spots.
Well, and especially when you're the owner and GM of a team that was in a World Series less than 5 years ago. You don't just, I guess, bring in a player like Nolan Arenado this offseason if you don't think that your rest of your team, if healthy, can go out there and compete. And I think they've had moments so far this season where they've gotten hot. Corbin Carroll looks really good as usual. Their pitching staff has started to figure it out a little bit, and I know that's why a lot of people are throwing those guys out on the trade market. But this is a team that I don't think feels they're out of it yet, and I think you're going to have a lot of squads going into the trade deadline here that are feeling the same exact way this season.
Got another one here from Jeff. Hey, Woody is healthy for now. Getting Henderson, Canning, and Hall back. More than enough pitching. The overall difference between us and the Dodgers is that they have all-stars. We have good players on the field. Okay, let's have that conversation. I think William Contreras is a top 3 catcher in the National League. If we're speaking to me personally, I would say Contreras is 1.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I would say pretty easy. Contreras is 1. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So he's 1. Bryce Terang.
1.
He has to be considered a top second baseman.
1. Yeah. I think it's pretty easy. You could tell Marte's gotten hot talking about the Diamondbacks over the past couple of weeks, but I still think it's Terang. I don't know.
Marte went yard last night, actually. So, yeah, so there's 2 positions where you can either say they're 1, 2, or 3. And again, Charlie and I are both saying 1, but those are at least 2 positions where you own that. Now, shortstop's a rookie, Cooper Pratt. So you don't have that. Third base, you don't have that. First base, Jake Bowers. Top 5 in the National League, maybe?
Yeah, statistically. I don't know. He's not top 1 or 2, though, like the other guys.
No.
Top 5 potentially. Yeah.
But I think he's top 5 or 6, somewhere in that area, right? I mean, he's not Freeman. So obviously,
do you like Andrew Vaughn better? I guess that kind of changes things too.
Well, I would like to see Andrew Vaughn play every day, and then I'll let you know what I think of Andrew Vaughn. I mean, if the Brewers are right and Andrew Vaughn plays every day for, say, a month and his numbers plummet, then okay, then they were right, I was wrong, and then you go back to your goofy platoon for Jake Bowers. But I'd like to see a run here of Bowers and Vaughn in the lineup every day. Give me 4 weeks of those 2 guys in the lineup every day. Rotate Frelick and Mitchell in center field, and let's see what it looks like, and let's see what this offense looks like going forward. But they're not going to give it to you. Instead, you get Bowers and Vaughn in the lineup like once a week if you're lucky at this point. Otherwise, you're watching some other cockamamie lineup that they come up with out there. But yeah, I mean, they don't have a star-studded Hall of Fame lineup like the Dodgers. Like, I totally 100% agree with you. But they don't have a bunch of, slouches either. If you look at the All-Star game coming up this year, Terang is maybe going to get voted in. It's pretty tight right now at second base.
I don't know if he's going to get it, though. I don't think Jake Bowers is going to get in. Tommy and I have had that argument.
Terang was what, 60,000 behind?
Yeah, and it was think he was fourth last time I checked, or third last time I checked.
Third. He was 60,000 behind second, I think.
That's a lot. I don't
No,
know
it's
if you
not.
I don't know if
nothing.
you make that up.
60,000 isn't anything.
I don't
No,
know if
it's
you make
not.
that. The way some of these other
Yes, you
fan
can.
bases are voting right now, I don't know if you make that up.
Yeah. If the Brewers fans got behind it and got dedicated, Terang easily could make up 60,000. But again, I mean, I don't know how many people even talk about voting.
I was going to say you have to get
for
them
players.
dedicated to vote.
Right. You really have to hammer it and have the Brewers really hammering vote now, vote now, vote now. So, and then from the 574, just texted and said, how about the best pitcher in the NL as well? Yeah. Cy Young,
Crazy.
potentially.
Probably best pitcher in
Mizrachi.
baseball.
Yeah. And then Harrison's no slouch. That dude's a stud, right? So, I mean, if you start talking about best starting pitchers in baseball, Harrison's in the top 10, I would say, right now.
Yeah, I would say so. He's had the one bad game, and outside of that, he's been probably top 5.
And nobody counts that. That was Vegas.
Yeah, that was Vegas. We forget about Vegas. You leave it in Vegas.
You're right. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Exactly.
Unless you go with Tim Allen, then it all comes back. Hey, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sports Book. And my friends over at Wendy's are just rolling along. The Minions really wanted to impress their new big boss, Wendy's, so they cooked up some fun chaos for the fans. Say hello to the Minions and Monsters meal, featuring one of 4 unique collectibles. New banana frosty swirl. It's delicious. Your choice of a big bacon classic or a spicy chicken sandwich, plus a small fry. It's time to go bananas over this exclusive Wendy's experience. Limited time only. Coming up next, green and gold update time from the Brewers to the Packers. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily here at SummerFest at the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from SUMMERFEST, the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. $5,000 to the first person, the very first person that gets a hole-in-one here at SUMMERFEST at the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge gets $5,000. It is $10 for 3 shots at the hole-in-one. It's an island hole. It's on a barge out in the water. It's been here for years and years and years and years and years and years. And every year you have an opportunity to do this. And like I always say, man, if you got kids, 6, 7, 8 years old, whatever the case may be, spend the $10. Let the kids go try it. Yeah, they're not going to hit it onto the island. Probably they're going to hit it in the water. But you come back, you do it every year when you bring them back to SummerFest, and you get those videos. When they finally get it on the green, man, it is going to be something else. The emotions as you go back and look at all the videos. So that's always my recommendation if you're into bringing your kids down here and doing it at SummerFest. You know, one thing I don't see is I don't really see a lot of kids this year. I feel like it's been more adults this year and less kids than I've seen in the past. Normally in the past, we've seen a lot more kids out here like earlier in the afternoon, like now and stuff. And then by the time nighttime comes and the sun goes down, then there are kids nowhere. And it's all adults walking around and having a good time. You were out here on Saturday, Charlie. How was it for you?
It was nice. It wasn't too busy that first weekend, at least from what I saw. We got there at like 6 o'clock, where I was able to walk straight through the crowd. It was really nice. It was gorgeous out. We got seats at the stage right away. We were over by the Generac Power stage. So it was a lot of fun. I always have a great time at SummerFest. It's my favorite time of year. I always try to go at least one of the days. I'm going to try to go at least one more this year too. So it's a good time. I have a great time with it. We didn't see a lot of kids either, which is, like, to me, not that big of a problem. But, you know, I'm also still a long whiles away from having kids.
No, not. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you when you should or shouldn't bring your kids or whatever the case may be. It's just an observation for me that over the course of time doing shows out here for many, many years, it just seems like there's a lot less this year than I remember seeing in previous years out here. In the weekday afternoons, at least. And normally, even on the weekend afternoons, say Saturday afternoons, and back when they were open on Sundays here as well, that's really when you saw like noon, 1, 2 o'clock, people walking around, having lunch, sitting at picnic tables, listening to music. They have a beautiful, huge playground area here at SummerFest that they put up a couple years ago.
The kids' stage is awesome. They play lots of great acts over there that are really cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely worth doing it in the afternoon. So, again, once you get to nighttime, maybe that changes the game for a lot of parents. And then, you know, you make your decision when you want to leave with the kids. Okay, time now to do something we normally do at 4 o'clock, but we're going to do now.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Thanks for listening around the beautiful state of Wisconsin. WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton, Fox Valley. Thanks for tuning us in there. Thanks to the Fan in Madison for being a part of the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. The Game in Wausau for tuning in. The Fan in Milwaukee. And, of course, the Game in the Duluth Superior area. Thanks for tuning in around the state today. All right, so normally we do this at 4 o'clock, but we have a pretty decent-sized Giannis topic at 4 o'clock. I wanted to give some run to before we get out of here. So we'll get to that at 4. So we move the green and gold update here to 3:20. Christian Watson, Charlie, was telling me, has some comments on Jordan Love and Matthew Golden, right?
Yes. So Christian Watson was on the Insiders on NFL Network. He was on there just asking a few questions about the look of this Packers team heading into the 2026 season, how they've played out with the wide receiver room, and how Jordan Love has been important in the leadership of this team. That's where we are going to go first, hearing from Christian Watson.
He just finds a way to get better at the things that, he's already been great at. I think that, his, consistency, is, somehow finding, ways to get even better. I feel like he's always been kind of the anchor of the offense in terms of, his poise and his consistency. Since he's got the starting job, he just finds ways to continue to build on that even more. I think that his biggest strength is just bringing the guys around him along. I feel like we all just kind of, lean on his energy, lean on his vibe, and he kind of just brings, everybody else up with him. I think that's definitely his biggest strong suit. And I feel like, we've gotten a lot better in this offseason because of it.
That is something that is very, very important as far as a quarterback goes on a football team. I don't care if we're talking about a high school quarterback, a college quarterback, or a pro quarterback. You are expected at the end of the day to be a leader of the offense and in most cases, a leader of the football team. You are kind of the vibe that everybody plays off of. And if we're being honest, not every quarterback that has come through the National Football League has been able to pull that off, to get the locker room to follow them, to believe in them, to vibe off of how they are doing and being that steadying influence at the end of the day. And listening to Christian Watson, Charlie, it makes it sound like Jordan Love definitely has done that role well.
And this isn't the first season we're hearing this from this Packers locker room. Last year, you were hearing this because a lot of people had questions about it last offseason. You heard guys like Keyshawn Nixon and Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs talk about how they believe in Jordan Love to take that next step and to be that leader at the same time. And I think going into this year, from what I saw from Jordan Love last season in the sample size that we got, because it again was not another full season, was it looked like the offense started out much cleaner than it had the past couple of years before that with him as the starter. It looked like that the coaching staff was kind of buying into more of his style of play, and that you were getting this kind of co-worker relationship with Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love versus boss and employee underneath him. I think that's really important. And to hear this season, I think is cool. It's nice to hear that Jordan Love is once again getting this same kind of recognition from his teammates. I know you're going to hear it from the coaching staff too when Matt LaFleur gets on the mic again. But at the same time, I want to see this team start to play with some kind of extra urgency, and I think that's led through Jordan Love too. And I wouldn't say that he's not an urgent quarterback, just I want to see him get emotional. Sometimes I do want to see him yell at somebody on the sideline. I want to see him get going and play with some more kind of fire when there's moments where it feels like he needs to be the one to take over. And I think last season we saw points where Matt LaFleur stumbled as a coach late in the games. I think those are the times where you would have seen an Aaron Rodgers or a Brett Favre go and say, okay, this is my game. I need to start taking over. I need to be the guy that's going to be the leader of this team. I don't know if it always felt like Jordan Love was doing that last year.
So let me get this straight. I don't want Aaron Rodgers Jr. running my offense.
For sure.
And being the guy on the sidelines, yelling and screaming, dressing down guys. If you want Jay Cutler Jr. in Chicago, you can have him. I don't want to deal with
I didn't
that.
say I want that all the time. I said I want it in those certain situations, which I think the best quarterbacks of all time have had that in those certain situations too.
I don't think – I think you're probably right about that. I don't think that's who this dude is. I think he's a lot closer to Michael Redd, where a lot more soft-spoken.
Everybody's Michael Redd today.
A lot more chill, relaxed. Now, Redd, we've brought this up before, where that dude he wasn't that vocal guy that you wanted him to be when he was the guy in that locker room. And anytime you brought it up to him, it was, I'm going to lead by example. That was it. Sure, the heck wasn't Giannis screaming and yelling at teammates, drawing up plays because he didn't trust the coach, running practices because he didn't trust the coaching staff. Michael Redd was nothing like that. He was just chilled. I'm going to do my job best I can. That's kind of how it's going to be. Everybody just follow along and be who I am. And it was just flatline. That's kind of who that dude was. Jordan Love, to a degree, I think probably is more similar to him than he is Brady, than he is Peyton Manning, than he is Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. You're right. We have not seen him snap, crackle, pop on anybody to this point if something goes wrong one way or the other. Almost to a certain the same degree of you really haven't seen him get over the top emotional when things go right? I mean, Brett Favre's moment's always going to be ripping off the helmet, running down the field, and with his helmet over his head,
I want
crazy.
those pictures. I want those iconic moments where they are getting super excited too, though.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get it. That's just not who this kid is, man. That's not how he operates. That's not his vibe. And if you think about it, Christian Watson, he's a pretty laid back, chill dude too.
He has his moments of celebration where he can kind of get talking at people too, though.
But he's not yelling and screaming and being TO or anything like that. That's not him. Like the character guys that they got in offense, they're all pretty much laid back and chilled. Romeo Doubs, again, he didn't show up, whatever. But, I mean, you've heard Romeo Doubs. Like, I'd rather watch paint dry than listen to Romeo Doubs talk in an interview. But that dude's, again, chill, just kick back. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah, that sounds good. That was, man, come on, dude. You're killing me. You're absolutely killing me. But that's the kind of guys that Goody is drafting. And there must be a reason for why he's going in that direction. But that clearly is a method to his madness. Did Christian Watson, didn't you say he talked about Matthew Golden
He
too?
did talk about Matthew Golden as well. This is Christian Watson talking about the wide receiver room and how it can elevate Matthew Golden's ceiling.
Just an explosive and dynamic room. I think that, obviously, we have, me and Jay Reed who have, played, a significant amount of snaps, with the Packers. Obviously, I feel like, everyone knows what to expect from us. Obviously, we're going to make plays when our number is called. And then you have guys like, Matthew Golden who are, he's coming into his second year. I don't think that we saw, a fraction of what he's capable of, last year. I think, the more opportunities he gets, the more, the world's going to know exactly who he is. So, I'm excited for that, obviously, and beyond, even MG, we have a deep room, a bunch of guys who can make plays, Bo Melton, Savion. I feel like we're gonna have a really solid group this year for sure.
Matthew Golden, same thing. Chill, laid back, not really boisterous, not really loud. Same type of guy, man. Josh Jacobs, same type of dude. I mean, whatever the off-field stuff was that the allegations were, which still nothing has come of any of that. But again, same thing, right? He's a leader. He was a leader with the Raiders. He's a leader in Green Bay, but not really super emotional one way or the other. He ain't busting up a cooler at halftime of a game or nothing. Like, that's just he just does not get those type of guys. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, is Micah Parsons that guy? I don't know. Is Hargrave going to be that guy? I don't know. It doesn't appear Xavier McKinney is.
No.
So I don't think you're going to look at him and go,
Keyshawn's that guy.
Emotional guy.
CB1.
Keyshawn, yeah. Keyshawn is prototypical corner, ego, like everything that goes with Keyshawn Nixon. Yes, that I agree with. All right, let's take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at SummerFest. The X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge, your chance to win $5,000. $10. Get your 3 golf balls, get your shot at getting that hole-in-one. First one to do it at SummerFest wins the $5,000. Coming out here. Give it a shot at SummerFest.
Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports Daily. I am Charlie Houston, not Steve Sparkenpfeffer. Oh, here he comes. He's
I'm right here,
right on
Charlie
time.
Houston.
He's right on time.
Yeah, it's literally like a 5-minute deal between from here to the restrooms at Summerfest to back to where we are set up. So as long as I don't get stopped or talked to along the way and I can make my way in and out quickly, we are all set. Normally, Charlie Sounds of the day would be right around this time frame, but as always on this show lately, everything gets pushed back. So Charlie Sounds of the day, we're going to move until later in the 4 o'clock hour. So maybe in case we missed it, maybe we'll do Charlie Sounds of the day there at the end at 4:40. Don't forget, coming up at 5 o'clock, Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up coming up at 5 o'clock with a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz coming up, and you'll definitely want to tune in for Tommy Wirtz from 5 until 6 o'clock. I want to. We're going to get into some Giannis talk coming up on the other side of this for sure. But we've got a lot of other stuff that has come in on the talk and text line as well concerning the Milwaukee Brewers. From the 920, if you guys get back on Brewers talk, we need to see Vaughn in the lineup over Yelich for a majority of the games in each series. If it's a 3-game series, Vaughn should be starting 2 of them. Vaughn getting 1 start a week and maybe a few pinch hits here and there just isn't enough plate appearances for a guy who is proving every game that he can hit and come through in clutch situations. Yelich should pinch hit, play in day games, and just stay healthy and fresh all season long. We've seen enough from Vaughn that should solidify him as the everyday DH. I do not care that Yelich is getting paid $20+ million a year and won an MVP 6 years ago. Vaughn should be the full-time DH. Go Brewers. Tough stretch coming up before the All-Star break here from the 920. Nicely done, 920. We have not had that conversation, Charlie Usen, about Christian Yelich and what to do with him kind of going forward. Do you continue to play him 5-6 days a week in that DH role? And is that good enough to keep him healthy with his back the rest of the season?
I mean, I don't, but I'm also not the one paying Christian Yelich. I think that this organization looks at the contract that he has, and I also think Pat Murphy looks at the value that he brings as a leader to a lineup that a lot of people kind of neglect when you look at a young Brewers team. You need that at the same time. If he's not going to continue to be the player that he was, then I think you need to find other opportunities to get other people in the line.
It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Summerfest X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. First one to get a hole-in-one Summerfest will win $5,000. Coming up on the other side, we change gears back to Giannis. How much has your opinion changed of Giannis since reading the Ozarski article in the last couple of years? That's next.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again as we are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at SUMMERFEST. The X-Golf Hole-in-One Challenge right over here by where we are. First one to get a hole-in-one here at SUMMERFEST wins $5,000. It is $10. You get 3 shots at hitting the hole-in-one on the island hole. Again, a chance to win $5,000. Is it worth $10? I'd say it's worth it, yeah. I'd say you give it a shot. 3 holes, 3 golf balls, 3 chances, have a shot to do that. So make sure to come out here.
Expert Chuck Garbedian says anybody can do it, so it's easily worth it.
I'd like to have a side bet of how many times it would take Chuck to get it before Chuck actually got it.
I bet he could do it in 5 balls. I'd give him
5.
Yeah, I think he could do it. The way he talks, 5? I haven't been golfing with him yet. I assume one day I will eventually. The way he talks, like it seems like he could, dude.
Well, yeah, he's very good. I'm not saying he's not a good golfer. He's a very good golfer, no question. I'm just saying, like, to me, again, novice golfer, not somebody that golfs all the time. It seems very, very difficult to me, but you never know. And I got more people coming in here on this Brewers topic. Another one comes in here from the 920, trade Yelich. So, yeah, I guess they definitely could get something for Yelich if they wanted to go that way. They won't. They will not trade Yelich. I just don't think that's going to happen. He only has a couple years left on his deal, and then you're done with that deal just like that, and that money now becomes available to spend elsewhere, whether that's giving Contreras a new deal, whether that's eventually paying Terang or whatever it is that you want to throw $22, $23 million at, that will become available from Yelich. And when it does become available, what then will be the CBA? What will that look like as far as if there's a floor to the new CBA for MLB? And if you're saying the Brewers are at 129 and the floor is like 160 or 170, they're going to have to spend more money. Then you have a legitimate chance potentially to sign William Contreras at that point, Charlie.
William Contreras, Jesus Medey, Andrew Fisher. There's a lot of guys that need contracts from this Milwaukee Brewers team that I think you can justify paying then if you have to use that money. I think you could look at Jacob Mizrowski and say, hey, eventually we may want to pay you. Logan Henderson, if he can keep growing as that type of player. And there's a lot of guys that this Brewers team now all of a sudden become these for sure long-term options if that does come to fruition.
I want to get to the Milwaukee Bucks here and Giannis. So I want to make sure we have time for people to get their thoughts in on Giannis, because otherwise Charlie and I here could sit here talk Brewers for the next hour. I think Charlie would agree with me on that. So I want to transition over here to the Giannis deal and the Giannis piece. So we talked about it pretty much most of the show yesterday about the Jim Owczarski piece with in the Journal Sentinel, talking about all the stuff behind the scenes with Giannis, and maybe it shed a different light on Giannis to a certain degree if you buy into what was written and so forth. The other thing is, when Giannis got here, as been talked about before, he was the innocent guy, didn't know much, was trying to figure just life out in general and how to drive a car. He learns how to do that here. He has his family here. All the different things that have happened over the course of his life happened in Milwaukee. And you literally watched him grow up from being this humble kid, just happy to be in the U.S., just happy to be in the NBA and so forth. And then over the course of time, you see him get bigger and more muscular and so forth. You see him become more and more dominant at the NBA level. You see him bawling his eyes out when he wins his first MVP. You watch all of it happen, and it all leads to an NBA championship and the parade and then the party on the stage and everything that goes along with that. And then you see it go back down the other side of the hill, and you watch the Giannis frustrations mount over the course of time. People accusing Giannis of being involved in hiring coaches, being involved in firing coaches, being involved in potential player personnel decisions, all of this. Then you have the drama over the last couple of years of, does he want to stay? Does he not want to stay? Does he want to stay? Does he not want to stay? All of this is played out. Just have a simple question. There is no wrong answer. This is your opinion. Not going to yell at you. You come up with whatever you have. Has your opinion of Giannis changed from when he got into the league throughout his career to where it is now? Has it changed? Maybe your answer is no. Love the dude when he got here. Love the dude still. Don't really care about him not wanting to sign the extension or wanting to be traded or whatever else. That's my guy. That's always going to be my guy. Like, if it's Josh Albrecht on Inside Wisconsin Sports, he's always going to be Josh's guy. Like, it does not matter. He's always going to be his guy. Brandon Snide's guy is Aaron Rodgers. He's always going to be an Aaron Rodgers guy one way or the other. It does not matter. And I think to a degree, Tommy Wirtz is probably the same way when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and that being his guy. I don't know if Charlie really has one of those guys. I don't know if he's really ever said to me he has one of those guys. So for you, maybe you are that Giannis person, and it's all about Giannis for you, so it does not matter. But I think opinions of Giannis have changed, certainly for some people in the fan base. I'm just curious to see how much it is, because so often you hear, the guys that are the negative ones, the guys that are yelling and screaming all the time, like me, that's the vocal minority, but that doesn't represent the majority. So I want to open it up and just kind of see where everybody's at on this dude, right? Are you still on the Giannis train? You still love Giannis? Is he still your guy at the end of the day, or has your opinion kind of changed on him? People's opinion on Brett Favre changed from the time he got in the league to where it ended. People's opinion of Aaron Rodgers changed from the time he got in to that time that ended as well. Just curious, the same thing has happened to you with Giannis. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Want to know where you're at, whether you're in Green Bay, if you're in Duluth Superior listening to us, if you're in Wausau listening to us, if you're listening to the fan in Madison, if you're listening to the fan in Milwaukee and southeastern Wisconsin, wherever you may be listening. Has your opinion of Giannis changed throughout his career here in Milwaukee over 13 years? 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Charlie, has your opinion of Giannis changed?
I don't think so. I think throughout all of this, I've been pretty confident that a lot of my feelings, the negative feelings I've had towards Giannis, have been mostly within the world of basketball. And I think that's kind of what changes for me, is that Giannis, the person, I think I'm still going to love. I think he was a great person for the city of Milwaukee. He was a great leader for the city of Milwaukee. He loved being here. And I think what he showed that, and the way he talked, and yes, it was kind of through semantics, like I've said before, but it showed that he loved this city and that everything that he was doing, that even though he looks like a villain in the world of basketball now, I think he's still a good person overall, at least in my opinion. And because of that, I'm still going to, I think, look to see him have success wherever he goes as a person, whether it's in basketball or outside of basketball. I think I'm going to look at to see what he's going to be doing in business ventures eventually and want to support those, because I think overall he's a good person that I have grown up with throughout his time in Milwaukee, throughout my time as an adolescent. I think it's something that's been really cool to see him grow the way I have too, it feels like, in some ways. So that's something that's never going to leave what I think he's done for the city of Milwaukee in my mind. But also I can still look at him in the world of basketball and say, yeah, you're a little bit of a villain.
I don't think he is a villain. I don't. And maybe I'm wrong. I guess we'll find out as we go throughout the course of this year. I just don't think people around the world, around the country, look at him as a bad dude or as a villain. I still think Giannis has a very large worldwide fan base, regardless of how it ended in Milwaukee with the Bucks and how this whole thing played out at the end. I just don't think he will be categorized as a villain at the end of the day. Now, villains in basketball, right? So who would villains be if it's not him? Well, I mean, I would say Draymond Green over the course of time has built up his villain card pretty good. Dylan Brooks is another guy that I would say over the course of time has built up his villain card fairly well in the NBA. Kevin Garnett, back in the day when he was playing, probably built up his villain card by how he acted on the basketball floor over the course of time. I don't feel like Giannis has built up that villain card necessarily. Like even Tyrese Halliburton with Indiana, yeah, he built up his villain card with Bucks fans for sure. Around the rest of the country, is Tyrese Halliburton a villain? I don't think so.
No, I think a lot of people like Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes, for sure. And a ton of people love Giannis, regardless of what happens here. Most people don't care what happens in Milwaukee. They could care less. I live in North Dakota. I live in Dallas. I live in California. I live in Rhode Island. Screw it. Who cares? I love Giannis. That's my dog. I'm going to get me a Heat Giannis jersey now to go wear and support him. And I'm going to be his guy. Wherever he goes, he's always going to be my favorite player. It's not going to change anything from that perspective. Just like, you can go back to Favre and Rodgers too. Same thing. Like, Favre was horrible, like the worst breakup ever. And you still saw people lining up to get Jets Favre jerseys and all that. Then he went to the Vikings. People were buying Vikings Favre jerseys and so forth. And that was a national breakup. Like, that dude was on Fox News. He was all over. This wasn't just a little, Green Bay, Wisconsin. We were just having our little fight in-house here in Green Bay. That was a national breakup. This thing here with Giannis is ugly from our perspective. From a national perspective, it never got to that point. He might in the future do this, but to this point, he's never slammed the organization and went at him, demanded a trade, and said, I'm never signing with you. You guys don't know what you're doing, whatever. Like, he's never publicly came out and went off on the organization at any point. Might he have thrown shade here or there to try to get a point across? Sure. But it's never been direct. Favre was direct on everything that he did. We've never seen that with Giannis. Now, could he respond to the Ozarski article in the Journal Sentinel? Yes. Would I blame him? No, I wouldn't. I would be completely understanding if he got animated and upset by that article or column, whatever you want to call it. But to this point, he hasn't been. So I don't think I would consider him a villain in basketball, Charlie. I might have lost Charlie. Let's go to Jeff in Greendale. Jeff, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Has your opinion of Giannis changed from the time he got here to now the time that he left?
No, probably still the same. I like him. I didn't I always was like, it was fun to watch him grow up. Like a lot of people said, this young boy to a grown man. A lot of things I liked what he did in his community. A family guy, which was a rarity for someone in that superstar status. I thought is cool, and it still is. You know, I'm sure he's going to be a lot of the same thing, family down there. So I love that part of things. I guess because I'm old, I like that part of it. When you're 57, pushing 60, you know, those are things that you appreciate when you're older. And that, I guess to me, everything's even all the reports that are coming out now. I think I saw something about what he said to Edens now about the trade. I don't know. I didn't read it. I just saw the headline or the title. As you know, Sparky, we're the older ones here. We've lived long enough to know it's two-way streets on a lot of things in life. We can say it's 90% 10, but it takes two-way street for things to break down a relationship or a workplace, whatever it is. It takes two-way. So I'm not stupid in the fact to say that Giannis is innocent in all this. What he said, what reports are going to now come out, I take it with a grain of salt. Just from life experience, unless you know and been there and can get some deep information, mine doesn't change for the guy. He's, like I said, a great guy. I wish him the best. But obviously, when Milwaukee plays him, I want him to beat him. I want him, to, which is not going to happen probably. But I still will root against him when he comes to town. But he will never take over the status for me. Marcus Johnson and Sidney Moncrief are still my all-time Bucks favorites. So have a good one, Sparky.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it, Jeff. From the 920, why do you want to keep talking about Giannis? As a state, we've gone through the prima donna stage plenty with Favre and Rodgers. Maybe you don't know this, but he was the best player in Bucs franchise history. They won an NBA championship with him. And when a player of that stature leaves the team and you do what we do, you talk about it. You absolutely talk about it. You want to know why we talk about it? Because people are talking about it at their jobs. People are talking about it at the bar. People are talking about it at friends and family houses about, man, what did you think of that Giannis trade? How that all went down? I've heard it all week from the baseball parents and stuff, people wanting to talk about it. Like, this is something that people are talking about. Now, you may not care about the Bucs or Giannis or whatever the case may be, and that's completely fine. But to not understand why we're talking about it, like, this has to be discussed. And if you're not a Bucs fan or an NBA fan, I get it. And I promise you, once we get through this little stage here, there's probably not going to be a ton of Bucs talk necessarily to talk about until the season starts. And then you'll hear mostly Brewers and then obviously more Packers once we get to training camp.
For sure. And
What's up, Charlie?
I think when you look at what Giannis it means to a lot of people, to some people, he's bigger than Favre and Rodgers. And this is bigger news than Favre and Rodgers even leaving, even though that had its own drama and had its own fan base attached to it. This is something huge for a whole different set of young sports fans, old sports fans in the state of Wisconsin. So yeah, maybe it may not mean something to you, but this is the first introduction to a lot of people to being a pro sports fan. And now it's leaving the city that they saw him win a championship in, and they felt that excitement, and now it's kind of feels like it's going away. I can understand why people are wanting to talk about this and wanting to hear about this. If we stick on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line 446-77-1250, Joe in Oak Creek, you were on with Sparky here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. How has your opinion changed of Giannis, Joe?
Yeah, it has changed a little bit. I'm 43, so I mean, seeing a lot of horrible Bucks basketball with, May Day, and then, like a Greg Monroe, like big free agent signing. Like, I always be grateful for the title. His story's amazing. Obviously, one of the best underdog stories probably in pro history with how great he is. But just like the last couple of years, especially this last year, was a little sour for me on just how he played it, with the media or just whatnot about, I might be staying, I might be going, leaders don't chase, and just all kinds of things he said in the media, just making a joke of it. I don't think that helped the year, definitely, when he was supposedly, according to the article, checked out, as of last year before the season started. So it has changed a bit, but with time, I'm sure it'll, change back. I mean, obviously, we'll always, welcome him back and love him when he comes back, but I definitely hope he loses there. I hope he doesn't win a title or win a lot there, but I just hate how he acted this year. I just think, like, making a joke of it and then acting like you're staying. I'm 100% in if they try to win, and then knowing you're leaving, like, I would just say less maybe if you're going to be playing games. And I think I wasn't naive enough to think he was staying, but I think a lot of people were. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes in with Giannis.
I think that is very true. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I think the word naive probably plays into it, right? A lot of people bought in hook, line, and sinker about loyalty's in my DNA. This is my city, all that stuff that he has conjured up and thrown out there over the course of time that, he's never going to leave. Like, he's going to be like Kobe and be here his whole career. He's going to be like Tim Duncan and be here his whole career. I saw somebody bring up on the talk text line earlier about, the Younts and Gatners that say with one team and do it with class their entire career are few and far between now in professional sports. And I think that is very, very true. At the end of the day, why did Giannis leave? And I think it's pretty simple. He doesn't trust ownership, didn't trust the front office to be able to do what he wanted to do, which is compete for a championship each and every year. Didn't trust him. And he wanted to go somewhere where he did trust everybody in play here. And clearly he trusts Spoelstra and Pat Riley as they have a long-term record together of winning and building and doing things the right way. Now, is he essentially going to be able to bully his way around that organization like it appears he did with the Bucks? Absolutely not. But do I think he'll want to? No. Because, again, if he trusts them, he's going to be like, yeah, whatever. I trust them. They've won year in and year out. They know what they're doing. The crazy part about that is the Bucks have been winning year in and year out with this group as well, and he still never really fully bought in this entire time he was here, Charlie.
No, and I think from some other kind of perspective, you can also say that the front office looks at him and goes, well, we don't know if he's 100% committed. He can say that all he wants. He can say that all the time, just like he's looking at the front office and saying the same exact thing. And that when they start shopping him potentially for a Luka Doncic, like it was reported, Jim Wazarski put in there, and that kind of scares him a little bit and puts him into this kind of hole where he says anything can happen. I'm worried that any star can get traded because Luka got traded and my name was talked about in those trade discussions. That's scary. And then I think the front office hears that and goes, well, is he 100% committed? Is he going to be here this whole time? Especially when you have a new owner group in Jimmy Haslam and his wife coming in and running things and trying to take over with that type of stuff. you don't feel like it's the same front office that you trust. It just felt like neither side was sitting there looking at the other one saying, yeah, I'm with you 100% because I don't know if you're with me 100%.
John, downtown, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily.
Hey, fellas, how are we doing?
Doing good, John. Has your opinion of Giannis changed over the course of his career?
No, it hasn't. I totally understand where what he's going through in a sense. Sometimes that happens to a lot of people in the workplace. He might have had appears obviously has a disagreement with the front office or management. But having said that, I have nothing but thanks for Giannis being a Milwaukee Buck and doing what he did for the city of Milwaukee and being a great player for the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, in my opinion, he was the single most important Milwaukee Buck player in a sense that he had brought the Milwaukee Bucks back to relevance. When he got drafted back in 2013 as an 18-year-old, he embraced the city of Milwaukee. He got himself bigger and stronger by working out, and John Hammond deserves a lot of credit for bringing him on board and working with him and helping him out. And I appreciate what he did for the Milwaukee Bucks, bringing the championship to the city of Milwaukee for the first time in 50 years back in 2021, which is just 5 years ago. So it was unfortunate this had to come to this point where we had to trade him. But I do appreciate Giannis and what he did. I think he's a great fella. He's a great guy, much beloved person here in Milwaukee and in Wisconsin. So I wish him nothing but the best.
That's very well said, John. Thanks for the call. I think the word appreciate that he kept referencing and using throughout that, I think that can be said by everyone, even if you think he got egotistical, even if you thought he became a me guy, regardless of what you think or how you changed your opinion of him over the course of time, I still think everybody is in the same boat of we're appreciative. Without him, we probably don't see an NBA championship in our lifetime. Without him, we probably never see an MVP guy on this roster, and potentially maybe in our lifetime. We may never see one going forward after Giannis in our lifetime, especially if you're older like me. So from that aspect, you do have to be appreciative, even if you don't like how it ended, even if you don't like how he acted the last 3 years, even if all that's in play, you still have to remember what experiences he brought you and the happy things that you kind of went through because of him.
Exactly. And I think when you talk about his mural, then you want it to be taken down because he's not in Milwaukee.
They're not taking it down, by the way.
They're not taking it down because you don't just get a mural. If you have to be somebody who I think is important not only to the team but to the city in general. And I think getting put up on a building like that the way he did, in the same way that a Bob Uecker gets put up on a building in our city, what I saw Giannis do.
Charlie, when did Bob Uecker get the mural?
Posthumously.
Right. Giannis can have it back then.
Why are you so mean about this mural? I think he is an important figure, not only for the Milwaukee Bucks, but for the city of Milwaukee too. And I think that's why they're keeping the mural up. And I think that's why it's important to keep the mural up.
No, listen, I think that this artist who did an amazing job, amazing, right? He's like, dude, I did all that. Oh my God, now you're going to take it down after I put all that work into it. Now it's coming down, right? Like he's begging, please do not.
I mean, I don't think he has control over that, though.
It's really, really good. Well, he's the one quoted in all these news articles talking about it, right? So you have that. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Now I'm joking about after he's dead, but you can put a mural up of that dude when he's done playing and he is retired. If you want to put another one of him up, go ahead. In the meantime, though, if he's playing on another team, that thing ain't staying up. Like that thing comes down. Have that artist who did Giannis, have him put one up of Mizorowski. I'm fine with that. Go put one up of Mizorowski. Put a second one up of Uecker somewhere in Milwaukee if you want to go along and do something like that. I'm not a fan of keeping that up when he's going to come rolling into town as an opposing player. That's the other thing that at some point we'll get to during the season.
I think it's bigger than basketball with that.
No, it's no. Well, not for me. It's not. When he comes rolling in, you want to make a bet that there are going to be Bucks fans wearing Bucks stuff that will be cheering when he makes baskets.
Probably. Yeah.
Yes.
Because they
no
love
question.
Milwaukee and they love Giannis and they
question.
feel
So
like he's that
now-
important to the city of Milwaukee.
Right. So at that point, now you're rooting against your own team and rooting for a guy in opposing jersey. That is going to irritate me. I'll tell you right now, I promise you, I will be mad when that happens. I know it's going to happen, and I'm already mad that it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. You will see people wearing Giannis jerseys walking in. Now, hopefully they're not wearing Heat Giannis jerseys, but you're going to see Giannis jerseys of all kind. Now, if they go and give him a standing ovation when he gets introduced in the lineup, totally fine with that. I have no problem. You want to do a tribute video at halftime and everybody wants to stand and cheer and try and make the guy cry?
Be a cool one, yeah.
I'm fine with that too. But when that ball tips and they're playing, no.
What
Absolutely not.
would be
I'm not
your
saying you have to boo them. You don't have to boo them. Just do nothing like you do the rest of the game. Just sit on your hands like you normally do and don't do anything. But if you make the effort to get up and go, yay, Giannis, when you didn't do that for half the baskets he made in Milwaukee, now we're going to do it for every time he makes a basket in Miami. No, I'm not going to be pleased at all. Again, I'm not saying to boo the guy. I'm just simply saying let's not treat him better than you treat your own players on your own basketball team at that point. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. Your dad would probably remember, Charlie. As far as Michael Jordan, when he came back with the Wizards, as far as did they cheer like every time he got a basket or did they not cheer at all? They definitely didn't boo him. I'd remember that.
I bet they cheered loud as hell.
I wonder how that was, huh?
I bet they cheered loud as hell. I bet they were in Chicago and they were all cheering for him because Michael Jordan it was bigger than basketball for the city of Chicago. Like that's what he meant to that city. So they were going to cheer him every time he comes back.
No.
Like I think that's what the case would be.
I definitely don't think that happened.
Theoretically,
I don't think they cheered him every time he made a shot for the Wizards. I don't think that's true because I think I would remember that too. I'm old, so we need to check with your dad. He's a gigantic sports fan from Illinois. I'm sure he'll be able to tell me whether or not how he was received when he came back. Again, thankfully, we're a ways away from that. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from SummerFest Hole-in-One Golf Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. First one to hit a hole-in-one out here at SummerFest gets $5,000. And if we're talking about winners, we got to talk about Habish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. They have 13 locations across the beautiful state of Wisconsin. If you're listening to the game in Wausau, they're there. If you're listening to us in Green Bay, Appleton area on WNFL, they're there. If you're listening to us in Madison on the Fan in Madison, they're there. If you're listening to us on the Fan in Milwaukee and southeastern Wisconsin, they're all over the place in southeastern Wisconsin. You want to know why? Because they've been doing this since 1930. That's a long, long time. You want to know why they've been doing it since 1930? Because they're that good that they can. That's how you get the national reputation. That's how you get safety laws changed and made in the state of Wisconsin based on cases that they've won over the course of time. That's all good. But at the end of the day, you care about hometown service. You care about being listened to, being taken care of, and them going to bat for you as much as humanly possible to get you what you deserve. That is the most important aspect of what they do. Not only are they all great and they're top of their game, but that approachability, treating you like a friend or a family member. Because I'm telling you, having been somebody that's been in a horrific car accident on I-94, when you're sitting there having the doctors looking at you, your car is totaled, stuck up against the front of a semi like mine was. When you're going through that, you have all kinds of crazy thoughts in your head trying to figure out what's next. That's when you got to turn to the people that you can trust. Those people are Habish, and Rotier. Check them out today. National reputation, hometown service at habish.com. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from SUMMERFEST at the Hole in One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. First one to get a hole in one gets $5,000. $5,000 if you make a hole in one at the Hole in One Golf Challenge. It's an island hole on a barge, 3 golf balls for $10. Get you your chances at that. And again, $5,000. I don't know why everybody wouldn't stand in line for $10 to have a chance to win $5,000. I know I could use $5,000. Brian, south side of Milwaukee, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line. Has your opinion of Giannis changed over the course of his career?
No, I wouldn't say it necessarily changed. I mean, much like Favre and Rodgers when they left, he's gone now and he's gone. So I'm not going to get all worked up over him going to another team. I'm going to cheer for the teams that I cheer for. I appreciate absolutely what he did. I mean, you can't help but admire how he conducted himself as a Buck, and what he did, built himself from really a superior reach. I mean, that was a real reach that they did, drafting him and becoming, at one point, probably the best player in the NBA when he was at his peak.
When they drafted him, leading up to that draft day, thanks for the call, Brian, that day of the draft, there was a lot of talk about Giannis rolling up the draft boards, that Atlanta was in as a possibility. And I think Milwaukee was talked about as well. There wasn't a lot of talk about this dude, say a month out. There just wasn't. Within the week leading up to that draft, that's when his name started getting out there about his workouts and stuff, and it started to rise a little bit. He wasn't invited to the green room. He was sitting in the stands because I don't know if you've ever even confirmed this, but I think he knew where he was probably going to end up, either Milwaukee or Atlanta, that one of them would probably take him at that
Probably
point.
both of them told him just to be there just in case, yeah.
Just in case, right. So he was there and he got drafted. But again, that was a late deal. Like during the season itself, college basketball season, nobody was talking about this dude being in a mock draft and being that guy at the end. That came way later. And from a Bucks perspective, Billy McKinney, who was like John Hammond's right guy from a personnel standpoint, was the one that was really convincing John, hey, we gotta seriously think about this here. This guy could end up being, whoever at the end of the day. But I don't think Billy McKinney nor John Hammond thought he would ever get to the level he got to, because that was like perfect scenario. Nobody thinks it's perfect. And that's why you talk about Nate Amends. Who knows, what level he potentially could get to at the end of the day as well. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. Come back on the other side. We got to get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day. And did you know that any youth sports player can score a free small classic Frosty anytime they visit Wendy's in their sports uniform? That's right. Just stop by after practice or with your team after a game. Who doesn't love a Frosty? And again, it doesn't matter. It could be a youth soccer jersey after a soccer match. It could be a baseball jersey after a baseball game, a basketball jersey after a summer basketball game. Whatever it is, there's no purchase necessary, right? You don't, mom, dad, you don't have to buy something for your kid to get the small Frosty. You just simply say, hey, my kid's wearing his baseball jersey. You just got done with practice. Sounds good. Pull around. Boom. Now, we're going to be honest.
Might as well get yourself something.
You're getting yourself something if you're at Wendy's. You're not just driving through Wendy's. Oh, I'm good. I don't need anything. I'll be fine. Get out of here. You're there. You're at the drive-through line. You're getting something off that menu, I promise. All right, coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at SummerFest X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. $10 gets you 3 golf balls. First one to get a hole-in-one wins $5,000. That's right. You can win $5,000 by simply being the first one to hit a hole-in-one at the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at SummerFest. At Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby, 2,000 square foot center screen, over 30 different sporting events at one time, 2 levels. You can always reserve your spot ahead of time to make sure you get a seat or a table by going to Potawatomi.com. Also, don't forget that they have the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, full menu, burgers, wraps, salads, all-day brunch, homemade pastries, and desserts out of the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen. Over 40 beers on tap, over a dozen different specialty cocktails. The food, the drink, absolutely delicious. And free shuttles to and from home games. Well, they're really not technically free. I shouldn't say that. Free parking at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, right, versus having to pay God knows how much to go watch the Brewers and the Cubs. Free parking there. Then you go inside the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You got to make a $5 purchase inside the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Once you do that, you tell them, hey, we want to take the shuttle to and from the game tonight. They give you a little bracelet to put on, and you're on your way on the shuttle to and from the game. Your car is protected in case there's any kind of crazy weather in the summertime in that parking garage at Potawatomi, and you're good to go. So, again, that shuttle to and from, very, very popular right now at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Take advantage of that for sure. All right, Charlie, your turn. Let's go.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's see what Charlie has. Top 3 sounds from around the world of sports. What say you, Charlie?
All right, so first up, I'm going to get one more small Bucks thing in here before we end it for the day. It's not about Giannis, so this is Nate Ament and Braden Burries in their introductory press conference discussing Taylor Jenkins, showing them their lowlights instead of their highlights, which is a little weird compared to some other coaches.
What I love most about Coach is while I sat down for my interview, he had a low light tape of me of my 5 worst plays in college. And I think that's super important. I think that's, as a player who has a lot of room to grow, it's important to have a coach who sees that in you.
He did the same thing with me in Chicago. He was the only coach that did it. But that just shows how much he cares for you and how much he wants to see you grow. And he honestly reminds me a lot of my coach from college, Coach Lloyd, or he's a player's coach.
You know, the interesting thing about that is, depending on the player, you may get a complete different response from a player. You know, you get some egotistical me guy, I'm the greatest player ever, and you show me 5 bad plays that I made. Man, who the heck do you think you are? Do you know who I am, how great I am? Don't be coming in here acting like I need help. I know who I am.
Maybe that's why they didn't trade up for a Darius Acuff or something.
Well, I'm just saying, you could totally hear, right, a really great player saying something like that to a pro coach who's coming in to talk to him. And the way that they both handled that and how they both reacted to that, I'm sure probably kind of played into why they took both of them.
Yeah, I'm sure that's really important when you talk about wanting to build a culture from ground zero, because the culture that was there in Giannis and Bobby Portis, the last 2 pieces of that are no longer in that locker room. You have to go and start building something new. And I think having the rookies that come in with this mindset that they're ready to buy into whatever you're selling is really important if you're Taylor Jenkins. And if you're a Bucks fan, that's something really exciting to hear and something that you hope to hear moving forward from other young players that start getting added into this rotation.
Clip number 2.
Next up, we're going to head on over to the Pat McAfee show, where Brewers second baseman Bryce Terang was on yesterday, and he was discussing the vibe in the Brewers clubhouse right now.
We got really good guys who have totally bought into the type of player they are and bought into the type of team that we are, and scoring in every aspect of the game, or pitching well, playing good defense, base running. So we got a lot of guys who bought into that, and I mean, it's great, dude. We're very confident in our team and what we got, and we're confident in each other and trusting each other. So that goes a far way. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's been fun. It's been a really good time, and we just got to go out there and compete.
That slapping sound is Pat McAfee throwing a ball into a glove 2 centimeters away from the microphone. It was making me so angry.
Yeah, I watched it on X, that video. Terang's just the guy, man. I find it hard to believe that anybody doesn't buy into Bryce Terang. You know, we were talking earlier about Jordan Love leader, talking about Michael Redd leader, Rodgers, Brett Favre, and how everybody leads a little bit differently in how they go about their business. You really don't hear about rah-rah, loud, in-your-face guys in baseball. You can't be. You can't. If it becomes an emotional game to the players like it is to the fans, these dudes would be burned out by May if it was up and down, win and loss, and up and down with a huge range of emotions. So in baseball, you really do have to kind of keep it even-keeled as much as possible. If you go back to last year in the playoffs, what did a lot of people think happened to the Brewers? That they were so emotionally invested in that Cubs series that when they won the Cubs series and they had the L flag and they were playing Sweet Home Chicago and all that other stuff going on. Was it Sweet Home Chicago? Is that what it was? I always forget the song there.
I forget too.
I believe it was Sweet Home Chicago. So whatever it was, they were playing that song in the clubhouse over and over again. And then they get to the Dodgers series and, emotionally, they're absolutely spent because they had everything they had in it. And it was hard to kind of pull themselves back up again. That's at least what some people think of what happened in that Dodgers series when their bats went cold. So, again, a little bit more difficult to figure out that, but Terang definitely feels like a leader to me. All right, clip number 3.
And last up here, we're going to head on over to foul territory where former MLB manager Joe Madden was on the show, and he was discussing how to get starting pitchers to go a little bit longer in games.
In order to solve a lot of these problems with the bullpen, teach your starters to go more deeply into the game. That starts in the minor league level. And it's not a 100-pitch exercise either. Guys are going to still get hurt. The more you attempt to teach to throw 100 miles an hour, where you're throwing, as hard as you possibly can against the wall, and there's no real pitching being taught right here. That's where the injury is. Why are we constantly it's always being blamed on the number of pitches thrown, where I think that is very insignificant compared to methods by which the ball is being thrown. So let's teach guys to pitch the third time through the batting order, give them that opportunity in the minor leagues. You're going to take less stress off of your bullpen arms, and then you're going to be able to parcel these guys out in a way that you're not going to beat them up by the end of the season. They're all dead meat, or they only have a 2-year lifespan because they've thrown so darn much. So it starts with starting pitching. Starting pitching to me was always the engine that drove it. That drives the entire engine of your major league team. The starting pitching. It's like a good offensive line. When you got those guys, man, a lot of other things just start to fall in place.
We got to stop doing this. In general, we must stop doing this. We cannot continue to talk about what was and expect it to go backwards. It's just not going to happen. We can talk about how deep into games guys pitched in the 80s and, guys like Nolan Ryan throwing over 200 pitches in a game. It's not happening. You have general managers, some of whom have never even played the game of baseball, that are relying on science, relying on data, relying on numbers. They do not care what these old guys think about how it should be done or what DeGrom or Scherzer or whoever thinks of what should be done. They're going to go based on facts and data and all that other stuff. They are not going to allow these dudes to throw 130 pitches in a game and all of this stuff. It's just not going to happen. Now, the one that has been brought up is I wonder if they would contemplate screwing around with the mound height one way or another. That might be something that we see down the line kind of going forward. Charlie Usen over there, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here. Thanks for listening today. Appreciate it. We'll be back out here at SummerFest tomorrow, right by the X-Golf Hole-in-One. Your chance to win $5,000 if you're the first one to make a hole-in-one at SummerFest. 2 to 5 tomorrow afternoon. Then the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz from 5 until 6:30. Speaking of Tommy, he's up next with Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Toodles.